Hello, this is Dr. Darnise, and welcome back into another episode of my writing and lifestyle salon. I haven't been on here in a minute, so I appreciate you tuning in. So I wanted to come on and talk about some high vibe traits that I've been seeing in the media lately, and a media story, which is really worth mentioning. So if y'all been following the story, Naomi Osaka, the young tennis player, and Venus Williams, you know where I'm going. And so if you don't know, Naomi Osaka is a young tennis player who was participating or going to participate in the French Open. All right, she's number 2 in the world. She's a very high ranking young woman, on the come up. Black woman, Black and Asian woman who, really acknowledges her Blackness, her Haitian roots. And so anyway, she recently said that she will not be doing the press, the press conference following the game, right? Like she's like, what I do is I play tennis. I win my money, and you don't get access to me beyond that. I don't have to do these press junkets. And so, the French Open, the tennis, association, they feel like athletes have to participate in the press after. So Naomi Osaka said, well, I've been having some mental health issues, some anxiety and depression, and I just decided that it's not really good for me to do this press work because I'm not a public speaker, and it makes me really uncomfortable and, can really trigger me and my anxiety. So I'm going to opt out. And they said, you don't get to do that. And so she said, watch this. And, initially there was fallout. Like, oh, you have to. We're going to fine you $15,000. Other Grand Slam events are going to ban you or fine you in some way. Anyway, my point is, and I posted this on Instagram. By the way, if you're not following me on Instagram, please do. It's at Dr. Darnise. I go live every Sunday between 6 and 7 Pacific time. I say between 6 and 7 because it's hard for me to give a specific time, but between 6 and 7 Pacific PM, that's when I go live. So follow me on Instagram. But I made a post following Venus Williams' statement about how she manages the press when she has to do all of this additional work, right? The stress level and how she manages it. And so what I posted, and this gets to the high vibe lifestyle, is when you know your worth, you're not bothered by the haters, right? When you know your worth, you stick to it. You stick to your core beliefs. You maintain that you know what's best for yourself, and you guard your well-being. You guard your health. No one knows as well as you what is good for you. However, typically what happens is we give that away because their society or jobs or family members have other expectations for us, and so we sell ourselves out. We sabotage our own well-being. We exhaust ourselves, right? And we suffer for it. We become depleted. And so here's young Naomi Osaka, who said, I'm not about to let y'all wear me out like this. I'm not a speaker. What I do is I win tennis matches. That's what I do. I snatch all the crowns and the money. No shade to Serena, but, she's up and coming, and Serena has, certainly given her all of her accolades for being a young woman on the tennis circuit. And so Venus, came out. A lot of people are now coming out in support of Naomi Osaka to say, what, she's right. And we as a society really need to honor an individual's choice in defending their own well-being, right? It's high vibe because as a society, we have to recognize that people get to decide what's best for them. And like everything else in our society these days, tennis or athletics in general as an institution is having to be re-examined, right? Everything in our society is having to be re-examined in these years in which we live. Obviously, everything is up for re-examination. And athletics has been too, not just recently, but obviously because of the activism of Colin Kaepernick, but activism from, Muhammad Ali and Joe Louis and all kinds of people, right, historically. athletes at, just historically, right? So athletics is having to be revisited, right? And here is a young woman, Generation Z, which I always say Gen Z is about a new thing. They're helping to usher in a new, more balanced and holistic way of being. They're the young adults right now. Generation Z, those are the youngest adults right now. They're in my classroom in college, in my college classrooms. Anyway, Venus Williams said, when asked, well, how do you deal with the pressure of the press? And, she did the mic drop and said, well, I know that none of these people who are asking me questions can play tennis as well as I do. They can't hold a candle to me. Other people deal with it how they have to deal with it. But as for me, I know none of these people can beat me at what I do. Mic drop, right? And people don't expect that kind of confidence, assurance, and self-validation from women, from Black women, from athletes. They expect us to bow under the pressure of the institution, in this case, the Tennis Association, or athletics more generally, the NFL, the NBA, whomever. They expect us to bow down to that pressure, which is why the French Open people said, we're going to fine you. And then the other Grand Slam organizations are like, yeah, we're going to also, because they thought she would fold, she would cave. And she hasn't. And lo and behold, she started to get support. Nike supports her, other athletes are supporting her. So what's high vibe about this is she held her ground according to what she knew she needed for her well-being. So it's not about, we tend to equate success, being a successful person, with the things that we have. And it's not about the things that we have. It's the way that we show up, the way that we be, right? And so Naomi Osaka is saying, hey, I value my inner being and my inner self more than I value that $15,000 that you're trying to take from me. I'll write you the check. Right? Like, the confidence that she had, oh, you want 15,000? Okay. Because I'm not about to let you ruin me, right? I'm not about to let you further damage me. I value myself more. And that's all kinds of high vibe. That's what I'm talking about in terms of high vibe. It's not about what we have or even external accomplishments, right? It's more about, who am I? Do I know my own core self and values and operate from that place? Even when I get negative feedback from others, even when it seems like I'm threatened, my livelihood might be threatened. I might suffer in the court of public opinion. These internet streets, people try to drag you and cancel you in a heartbeat. But she said, I don't care. I'm taking care of myself. And that's high vibe. And then Venus comes along and says, and I don't care who these people are. They can't beat me at my game. And we just have to applaud Venus, because we can all learn from that. We can all learn from both of them. But, to some degree, people think it's negative, it's arrogant, or it's, conceited to be able to say, well, nobody can do what I do better than me. Especially when women say it. Especially when Black women say it. It's like we're not allowed to own that we're good at what we do, that we're powerful, that, we're beautiful, that we do all of these things really, really well. Now, there's the strong Black woman narrative, and that's allowed because that means other people get to lean on us. Other people get to load us down with work. And Naomi Osaka said, you're not about to load me down with this extra work. So when we say, okay, no, I'm not going to just fold under the strong Black woman, I'm going to take a stand for myself, people are upset. Well, it's high vibe to me, and let me tell you, I'm all for it. So I'd love to hear your comments about it. You know, the channel is still growing. I appreciate your support. Like, share, subscribe. You know, especially just like, you know, that really helps me grow the channel here. So thank you again for joining, and I'll be back with more. Bye for now.